I would say 7 out of 10 of the problems that I hear from people, I go away from them and I say, your biggest problem is you can deal with that yourself, but you won't. And we're standing and we're looking at these obstacles in our lives. It's like I said a few weeks ago. There's one old saying, be careful when you ask God to move a mountain, because you never know, the next morning you may wake up with a spade beside you. See, we're asking God to do things in our lives when the answer is already there. I genuinely mean this. And I've said it at the beginning and I'm saying it again. I am not qualified. But one thing that I am looking for is a hunger. A hunger. I'm looking for people with a hunger around me to do something for the Lord in this land. For people with a hunger that are looking at the situation, looking at our land, looking at our nation, and looking at the disappointment that all these leaders are to us. Look at these so-called Christians destroying one another in public TV. Destroying one another in my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month. And Laban said unto him, Jacob, because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall be thy wages? And Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. And Leah was tender-eyed, we'll not go into that, and Rachel was beautiful and well-favoured. And Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. And Laban said, it is better that I give her to thee than I should give her to another man. Abide with me. The anointing brings favour. Why do you think our nation is such a Christian nation? Because every so often the Lord will raise up the Whitfields, the Wesleys, the Spurgeons. He'll raise up the Billy Grahams. He'll raise up, I always remember Billy Graham came to preach in London. I don't remember him preaching in London. You're okay, I'm not that old. And I remember Pastor McConnell arranged for them to go over to London to hear Billy Graham. And they arranged for 2 busloads to go to Billy Graham preaching in Wembley. And I remember a pastor who come out from under Pastor McConnell's ministry speaking one time. And he says he remembers sitting in Billy Graham's meeting. And he remembers Billy Graham preaching, and he said to himself, this man's no better than me. Never be afraid to be used by God's anointed. Never be afraid to attach yourself to be a blessing to God's anointed. Never be afraid to be that servant that Abram can go and say, go and get my son Isaac a wife. You see, every servant needs a master, and every master needs a servant. And if God calls you to be a servant, be the best servant you can be. And if God calls you to be a master, be the best master you can be. And if God calls you to be a toilet cleaner in the church, be the best toilet cleaner you can be. And if God calls you to be the hooverer in the church, be the best hooverer in that church. Whatever your office, whatever your calling, qualify yourself in it and allow yourself to be established. Do you know what I'm trying to tell you to do? Start at the bottom and work your way up. David was anointed 3 times in the Bible. David was anointed 3 times. And each time David was anointed, he was anointed into a different qualification. He was took further and further and further. The church cannot sneeze that they don't put a picture of it up. We don't help no one that we don't have a picture of it up. We don't do an outreach that we don't have a picture up. We don't go to someone's door with a food hamper without getting the picture at the front door, making sure we get the right shot. Is my hair all right? Wee Glynis comes to the door to get her food basket. Glynis, stand you there with your arm round me. If you really cared about Glynis, you know what you'd do? You'd leave the food hamper at her door and say, a gift from God. See, if you're really serious about doing the things, Pastor McConnell taught us this. I'll never forget it. He says, if you're going to serve the Lord, go at 2 o'clock in the morning. Do you know why he said go at 2 o'clock in the morning? Because nobody will see you. That's what he taught us. Go in the middle of the night that nobody sees you. Christians, he loved them. You wouldn't hurt them like that.